Сьогодні хочемо представити вам новий проект сайту Ukraine Under Attack, який стосується
which actually pertains to the infographics about the bombardment and the number of shelling by the militants of Ukrainian cities and settlements under the conditions of a truce. I would like to remind you about this site, Ukraine Under Attack. This is a project of the Media Center, which is dedicated to the war in the east of Ukraine and accumulates all the official information regarding those events. And the new service, this is a visualization of the data, infographics, which is going to be updated on a daily basis. It includes the map of the bombardment, where they actually shoot, and the geography of those bombardments. And more details will be shared with you by analyst Nazariy Polishchuk. You have the floor, Nazariy. Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to welcome you in this studio, and thank you very much for the chance given to me to introduce the analytical system, which includes chronology and geography of bombardment by the militants of the Ukrainian positions and the chronology of those events. This map has been prepared in order for us to have a chance to familiarize ourselves with the situation in the zone of anti-terrorist operation, and that we could monitor dynamics of bombardment, what kinds of weaponry are used by terrorists and militants to actually bombard the Ukrainian military and military servicemen. And we can monitor the violation of Minsk agreements. This map contains information since March 29 and up to the April 14. Today we still have to update this information. Any visitor to this website of the Ukrainian Crisis Media Center can visit this media map and see the chronology of the bombardment and the kinds of bombardment shelling. And Avdiivka can see what the hotspot it is, about 10 bombardment of Ukrainian positions from different kinds of weaponry. And we are talking about the mortar launchers and the multi-rocket launchers, all kinds of the artillery, guns, etc. And the hottest spots today are along the contact line, or line of contact, is the area to the north of Donetsk, which can be plotted on the map, and also the area near the Shirokina, the checkpoints where the Ukrainian military defend the city of Mariupol. Next diagram, please. This diagram enables us to understand the dynamics of the bombardment day after day on daily basis. You see, since on March 29, there were only 18 bombardment, and despite the Easter day or Passover day on April 14, 12th and 13th, the number drastically increased. We can see even the kind of the weaponry used. In this case, the mortar launchers used by combatants against our Ukrainian armed forces. All kinds of weaponry you can see here. You can actually see the number, the quantitative and qualitative characteristics on a daily basis. Next diagram allows us to understand how during the 24 hours the terrorists shell or bombard the position of Ukrainian army. And we have also the hour-by-hour dynamics of the shelling, and we accumulated a big, massive of data which will enable us to understand that mostly bombardments take place in the second half of the day, in the evening actually. We can see the three peaks here, this 5 and 6 p.m. 7 and 8 p.m. and up to the 10 p.m., which is the highest peak. In the early hours of the morning, actually, the number of the shelling decreases drastically, and then again, and we can see the number of the shelling and the bombardment within the time period, within the last 2 weeks. Next diagram. This enables us.
This diagram gives you a chance to understand what type of weapon they use, the terrorists. First of all, it's small arms, mortars, and the grenade launchers. As well, there are other types of armory. They are used to a less extent by terrorists. This diagram gives you understanding the spread out of the types of weapons. This diagram gives you understanding of the number of shelling in last 2 weeks of the settlements. As you may see here, Avdiivka is the hottest spot in this sense, and there are 10 hottest areas in sense of shelling of Ukrainian positions. As well, Opitne, Shirokino, and there are data for other settlements, Piski, and up to the 10th date. This diagram reflects absolute figures and specific figures per one settlement out of all the shellings that were registered by the monitoring mission. As well, I would like to point out that these data are interactive, and all of the graphs are placed in the website of Ukrainian Anti-Crisis Media Center. As well, we have the same at the website of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, and these data will be refreshed every day at noon, and anybody has open access, and it is a high quality of this information and very nicely visualized data for you to understand the situation in ATO area. If any questions, please go ahead, or probably some comments. Darina Chernousova, Ukrainian Crisis Media Center. Could you please clarify how you calculate shelling every day? Every day we have a statistical data based on the monitoring where the shelling happened, what time the shelling happened, what type of weaponry was used, do we have or do we have not the victims, if anyone who is, probably somebody is placed in there and he sends data. The information we gather from Ukrainian Crisis Media Center and under attack resource. We process the information, visualize information. Any more questions from colleagues? Thank you. No more.